Yeah. All right, welcome to the Leadership Academy's invitational. Randall Crosby, who is a Leadership Academy graduate, and he's our guest speaker. Life was normal for Randall as a youth growing up in Naples, Florida, in his family's business of farming and wholesale retail produce. He attended 2 years of college at Broward Community College, including 1 year in Spain as an exchange student and 1 year at the University of South Florida in Tampa. Maybe this is why his Spanish is so exceptional. It could also be because he's married to a woman from Ecuador. He was born with a medical condition called retinitis pigmentosa, also known as RP. The condition causes night blindness and a gradual loss of peripheral vision, eventually causing total blindness in many cases. He worked for Marriott Hotel during his 20s, but had to resign after becoming legally blind at age 27 in 1988. After 2 years of unemployment, Randall learned about the Randolph Shepherd vending program and went into his own business in food service with his wife, Patty. Through this business program, Randall has owned several different businesses over 30 years, including a cafe in Kennedy Space Center, which is where he met my dad, which is ultimately how I got to know Randall. That's a whole other story. And right? And one in the state Capitol building in Denver, Colorado. I know. And one of our participants, Lauren, is heading to Colorado Tuesday. So Randall continued losing his sight slowly over time, totally becoming blind at the age of 45. Through it all, Randall has always been optimistic. And he says, even though I can't see the glass, I know the glass is always half full. Life is short and precious, so we have to live it to the fullest. Randall is a 2018 graduate of the Leadership Academy, and today he's going to tell us about the importance of networking and maintaining a positive attitude. So let's all welcome Randall Crosby. Yay.
Thank you, Dr. Gabrielle, and thank you everyone for making me feel so welcome here today. Yes, I'm happy to be here to share my story with you guys. And I was sitting in your place in 2018, and we're about halfway through the program now. So I can remember how that was. It's a great program. It definitely makes you think about some things, right? Kind of reevaluate your life and reassess. That's the way I was feeling about it. But it's such a great journey to be on. And it was Dr. Gabrielle who strongly said I should follow after this Leadership Academy and go into Toastmasters. And I've been in Toastmasters 4 years now. And that's quite a journey. So I'll talk a little bit about that and about my experiences, my journey. And I do have a funny sense of humor. Gabrielle can tell you that. And it was only a little while ago, just coming into this meeting, when my wife Patty's listening to some videos there on YouTube for her own entertainment. And I hear this guy say, I don't know about you guys, but when I punch in the time clock to go to work, what I do after I punch in is I go hide. Why do I hide? Because everyone keeps telling me good, hard workers are hard to find. There you go. Corny joke. Hey, at least I know I got a laugh out of you one time today, guys. Come on. All right. The title of my speech today is Show Me Your Network. How did I come up with this title? I spoke to Dr. Gabrielle last week, and she asked me, what part of leadership do you want to talk about? I thought, my gosh, there's so many things I could talk about. I love communication. That's a strong part of leadership. But I told her networking. Let's go with networking because it's so important to me. Building a network is so critical. And I don't mean just the big network out there on social media. That's one part of it. I kind of see it as two parts. We have that big network, the people you want to reach. They could be the strangers that you may never directly speak to one-on-one. There is that, and that's very important. But today, I'm not going to talk to you about building a social media network, the high tech, all that. I'm not that tech person. I'm really a low tech person. I'm thinking more about the one-on-one relationships that we have, your close circle of family and friends, the network that you do have. That's what I want us to focus on today. Show me your network. The other day, my heart was tugging at me. The universe was calling me to go into a Toastmasters meeting on Saturday morning. I had Leadership Academy on my mind. I'm preparing for this speech. What am I going to talk to you guys about? I said, I got to get into this meeting. And randomly, I chose the one that starts on Saturday morning, 8:15 a.m., called Early Birds Toastmasters of Tallahassee, right there in Tallahassee. The irony of it. I'd visited that club a couple of times in the past. And on this particular morning, last Saturday morning, I'm in the meeting. They introduced the Table Topics Master. Table topics are spontaneous, questions that you're asked. You have to think on your feet and come up with an answer for 1 to 2 minutes. Sounds easy, but it's hard. The table topics master starts like this. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Now is the time for our table topics session of the meeting. I'll have a few questions for you randomly. Be prepared. You don't know who I'm going to call on. My first question. What do you love about Toastmasters? Let's call on Derek Bell. And Derek Bell's got his answer. He's ready to go. He says, Madam Toastmaster, I love Toastmasters because of the networking. And he goes on and talks for a few minutes about his networking. And he says this thing that's very profound to me. He says, I tell my friends and people I meet all the time, show me your network and I'll show you your net worth. Think about that.
Good.
I thought that was awesome. I don't know about you. If you're taking notes, write that down, please. Use it for future reference. I know I jumped over to my notes right away and wrote it down. Show me your network and I'll show you your net worth. Let me ask you guys a question. Anyone speak up? Feel free to answer. What do you think of when I say, what is your net worth? What thoughts come to your mind about net worth, your personal net worth? What would that be?
Resources, liquid or available resources for whatever you might want to do, vacation or net worth. What's left after you paid all your bills and your assets?
Right. So you're talking money right away, money, obviously money. But on top of money, this guy went on to talk about, the Toastmaster talked about, I'm not just talking about money, he says, I'm talking about happiness, joy. What is your net worth? And that's what I want you to think about today. As we talk about networking, does your network bring you happiness and joy? Does it build your net worth? So let me ask you a question, and there's no right or wrong, and just don't raise your hand. It won't do much good for me. But are you happy with your network, with your circle of friends and family? Family, you got to be happy with. We can't choose them. I won't make anybody say they're not happy with their family today, but do you feel satisfied and happy with where you are in your networking, your circle of friends?
No.
No. All right. Being brutally honest, right? If we're honest about it. Yeah. There's always work to be done, right? And that's what I've learned. And that's where I've grown so much, even in just the last as recent as the last couple of years, but through Leadership Academy, evaluating and thinking about who am I hanging out with? They have that old quote, tell me who you're with and I'll tell you who you are. And that's very true. I've learned I'm so impacted by the people that I'm around. It makes such a difference. So I just want to help you all focus on who we're spending time with and why we're spending that time with them and how we can find ways to spend time with new people, sometimes different people. I've learned it's that variety of networking, of getting around different people. We want the like-minded people. They always say, get around like-minded people, which is what Leadership Academy is. It's like-minded people who want something more than just the 9 to 5, punching the card and punching that time clock and going and hide like the comedian did, right? But we want more than that. And that's what I just want to propose to you today, to think about how you can do more networking and get out there, out of your comfort zone. As we like to say here at Leadership Academy, get out of the comfort zone. And I always say again, then great things will happen for sure. But I do love quotes. And there's been a couple of quotes that have stuck with me really in these past 4 years that have helped me so much. Quotes just say a lot in a small amount of time or in just a few words. And one is from Lisa Nichols. Some of you might know Lisa Nichols. If not, I hope you'll get to know her after today. She says, action is the antidote of despair. And please write that down if you're taking notes. Action is the antidote of despair. Lisa Nichols. Powerful to me. And I take that to heart and I use it. I've been using it for the past few years. Every time I feel despair, and despair, we know what that means. That means sadness. It can mean depression. It can mean we're really down. And trust me, I have moments where I'm down all the time. I'm one of the most optimistic people you could ever meet. I believe in the power of positive thinking. But I, like all of you, have a moment here and there where I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I just say to that person? What did I do? I blew it. I messed up. I'm the worst person in the world for what I did. Feeling low. We do it to ourselves. But if we're honest, we just need to move away from that place. Take the moment to be there. We all have sadness in our lives. It's going to be there. But I always say there's plenty of reasons to cry in life. There's plenty of things to find for that. Even watching sad movies. Some people watch these really sad movies. I'm like, I don't want to be watching that. Not too often, at least. Give me a good comedy movie or a fun movie. I want to find things to laugh about and be happy about, find joy about, and be optimistic about, because we have that choice. We can make the choice. It's ours to make. And it is totally the mental attitude. So I love that quote. Action is the antidote of fear. And I mean really putting that into action, putting that quote into action. I catch myself when I'm in that little, Randall, stop, take action, move, call someone who you can talk to, or go out and take a walk. I believe in physical activity, as Gabrielle can tell you. Even though I'm totally blind, after becoming totally blind, I ran my first 5K race. It was at the shuttle landing strip of the Kennedy Space Center with Gabrielle's dad, as it turns out. And that is a whole nother story for another day. But it turned me into a running machine, running monster. I went on to run 120 races of all kinds, 3 full marathons, triathlons. And this is the power of positive thinking. It's mental attitude. I believe I can do it. Nobody's going to tell me I can't do it. And that's what I want to share with you all today, that no one can take that away from us. We're going to have those low moments, those moments of doubt. They come flooding over us. But I believe in myself, and I want you all to believe in yourselves that you can do it. You can overcome. Taking action, always. After I graduated from Leadership Academy, I had a speech that I was giving to people that said, I learned 3 things at Leadership Academy. Number 1, take action. Number 2, take action. You know what number 3 is? Take action. That's it. And I'm telling you, it just works. Get out there and move and do, and take it easy on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. But even go out for a walk when you need it. Just get out, move around, get in the fresh air, go into a routine of physical fitness, whatever that means to you. Everyone's on different levels. If it's going to a gym, sign up for dance class. And what happens, that changes your life, your routine, and then your networking. You're getting around new people. You're getting a surge of new energy that's coming over you. Is it work? Is it hard? Of course it is. It's really hard. It's ironic to me because I chose this theme, networking, and I realized after I started thinking about it, I'm in a transition period myself right now. I really am moving out of a network of people that I had been working with. Suddenly, it all changed for various reasons. Nothing anyone did. It's what happens in life. And I'm totally reevaluating myself. Where's my networking? What do I need to do? So this is doing me as much good to come in front of you all and talk about this as it is to share with all of you. It's doing as much good for me as you, because I'm reevaluating as we speak. What is my networking? Now, I told you I had another quote. The other quote is from Mel Robbins. I love Tony Robbins too. We all know Tony Robbins. He's a very dynamic motivational speaker. But less known is Mel Robbins. Mel is a lady, she, M-E-L. The name could be deceiving. Robbins, R-O-B-B-I-N-S. Yes, she's got the 2 B's. Tony Robbins has the 1 B. That's how I tell them apart. But they're not related. Anyway, Mel Robbins, she has a very interesting backstory. And that's why I love these motivational speakers. I love their story and how they started, who they were before they began. Mel Robbins' quote is, lean into your dream. Lean into your dream or goal. Work on it 10 minutes a day. Some days you may get to 8 minutes and say, forget this, I'm out of here, I'm done. Or you're watching that clock, oh, barely got to 10 minutes. Other days you're going to get started with drudgery, not wanting to work on your dream or your goal, whatever that is. And then an hour has gone by and you produce so much work. You've been prolific and you've done a lot. So lean into your dream, work on it 10 minutes per day. And again, I put this into effect. I really did it. I didn't just say, well, that's a nice phrase. Cool, I'll move on. I put it into action and I did it. Again, that word action, I put it into action 10 minutes per day. It could be 4 a.m., 5 a.m. before my day starts. It could be 11 o'clock at night when I'm so tired, I just want to go to bed. But I forced myself to do things 10 minutes a day. And it's helped me to evolve to where I am today. I'm on a course of becoming a public motivational speaker. And the networking thing is working well for me because I'm being so proactive about it that through my Toastmasters adventures, I call them, that I've networked with so many wonderful people. And I have a specific gentleman now that if he'd come into my life 4 years ago, I would not be ready for him. He would have served me no purpose. He wouldn't have helped me at all. I had to be prepared to receive him and what he was bringing to me. And I totally could not have done it. I would not have been able to appreciate what he brings. But he is an accomplished professional public speaker who has done amazing things. And he is a success story. And he's offered to help me. And it's working out really well. And this is a networking through Chamber of Commerce for me. And that's been a whole evolutionary experience to come into the Chamber of Commerce. And the wonderful part of that story is Gabrielle introduced me to the director of one branch of the Chamber of Commerce here in my town in St. Augustine when I first moved here. And he's been my friend ever since. And talk about amazing networking. He's a leader in the community. He's also the director of the Bureau of Tourism for St. Augustine, which is a huge position. There's a lot of tourism in St. Augustine. So he's so well connected. And that's just been powerful networking for me. And the reason she connected us, by the way, is because he's a runner and I'm a runner. So it's through running that we connected. And that's what I found about running. I started running just for the fun of it, the love of that physical challenge, the benefits, of course, of what it brought, the freedom of that movement, being blind especially. But the running community has been amazing and such powerful networking. So find places to go in your life to get out of your comfort zone and move into a different place where you can try new things, experience new things, have that growth. When we get out of the comfort zone, amazing things happen. They really do. I'm not sure how much time I've talked here, Gabrielle.
It's been 15 minutes.
Okay, yeah, I'll go another 5 minutes, then we'll do some question and answers. And I touched on my adventures of running and all the physical activities. And I never ran my first 5K race until after I became totally blind, which is very ironic. And it was Gabrielle's dad who encouraged, challenged, and insisted that I run a 5K with him, but he made it seem like fun. So I did it. I was afraid when I was in front of, when I lined up on the starting line of that 5K race with about 300 people, I was freaked out of my mind. I was scared. What am I doing here? I must be crazy. This man, Gabe, Gabrielle's dad, with all due respect, I'm saying this man, Gabe, is crazy. My friend is crazy, and I'm crazier than him for being out here as a blind guy thinking I can run a 5K. And I did surprise myself and Gabe too, because I ran every step of the way. In my mind, I told myself, well, I'll run the first mile to make it look good for Gabe, to get him off my back. I'll walk the second mile, and the third mile, I'll crawl and they'll carry me away in an ambulance. I visualized myself being in a stretcher in an ambulance. That's crazy, but it was amazing. And it brought in a whole new aspect to my life, opened up a whole new realm of thinking and positive attitude. It's just that experience of pushing myself beyond the limits. And to run 26.2 miles in a marathon is pushing the envelope of how we can just push our mind and body past the limits. And that was more of a mind experience than a body experience. It really was pushing your mind to the point of, can you do it? And my third and final marathon that I ran, I'm happy to say, was the Tallahassee Marathon right there in Tallahassee. And Gabrielle crossed that finish line with me. We ran it together. And I started that marathon by entertaining my brain by counting the hills. Big mistake, folks. When you live in Tallahassee, you guys know Tallahassee has so many hills. After the first mile, I counted about 15 hills and I said, stop counting hills. That's crazy. Because when you're running uphill, believe me, you don't want to be counting them. But anyway, I wanted to share some of my other stories with you as far as that goes. But that's my thoughts about networking. Just think about your small group and who you're around and what you can do to move out of your comfort zone. Step into that uncomfortable zone, whatever that means for you. Find new experiences, get around new groups of people, and things will start to happen. Thank you. I'll just stop there. Is that enough time, Gabrielle? Is that about right?
So Randall, we'll ask you some questions now before I turn it over to everyone else. I did want to say I have never actually run a marathon. I only ran as a sighted guide. He's allowed to have 3 sighted guides. So I just ran like the last, was it 6 miles? I was actually in really bad health at the time, not knowing that I had leukemia or anything else. I didn't know that I had a brain tumor, which was causing me to fall all the time. It was kind of a good thing that Randall would run on my right side because I would fall to the right, and he's a big guy, as you can tell, he's pretty tall. And so, you know, if anything, I would just bump into him and he helped me not fall, just like my service dog would walk on the right side. So yeah, we helped each other and it was awesome. I got to cross a finish line of a marathon, but have never actually run a marathon myself other than the last 6 miles. So thank you for that opportunity, Randall.
Oh yeah, it was great. The way it works, yeah, I had 3 sighted guides. Each one took 1/3 of the leg. So it was split up the distance between the 3. Yeah. And then it was like, they passed me off. The way a relay race, like you pass the baton, they passed me. So it worked out good. And it rained all day that day, right, Gabrielle? It was a rainy day.
It was a rainy day and it started warming up and every layer that Randall would take off, I would tie around my waist. And by the end of it, I looked like a bag lady. I was just covered in, like, I had so many things tied around my waist. But
yeah, it was cold and rainy. It was in January, wasn't it? Yeah, cold and rainy.
But I'll tell you what, we had a good time, except we got there and all the food was gone because we don't run fast. So, right? Remember we were so hungry and we're like, what do you mean the food is gone?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I know, right? Anyway, Randall, I'm going to turn it over because earlier when you were talking about Mel Robbins, I don't know if you could tell there was some discussion going on here because I think that there are no coincidences in this world. We came into this meeting, this Leadership Academy session today, talking about a number of things, but what kind of came out of it is that the people in this room are going through transition right now. They're all reconsidering where they are and where they want to be. And so I think that your topic, you know, really probably resonates with them more than you realize. And when I say it's serendipitous, you mentioned Mel Robbins earlier, and Robin, who's in the room here, actually was saying that she uses a strategy that Mel Robbins has. And so,
yes. In fact, because I use that. Yeah, you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's exactly what she said.
She watched the rocket. Mel Robbins was in a deep depression. And that's what I like about her story is Mel Robbins, to me, she emulated all those things that people want. She was a young, bright, intelligent, good-looking lady who was an attorney, accomplished attorney, and she was a CNN reporter, married to a successful husband. Money was no object in their lives. They had it all, basically, you would think, but she was totally sad and depressed and unhappy. And then she saw that television rocket launch and woke up that and said, every morning, I'm going to just do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and get out of bed. And everything I do, I'm going to do that. And I put that to use too. I was doing that daily, all the time for about a year or two when I first heard about that. You know, I've moved away from it, but absolutely, it was a tool I used a lot.
Awesome. Well, let me let everybody throw some questions at you.
Okay.
Well, it's interesting that you were in the business, the vending business. Was that through Lighthouse or Division of Blind Services?
Well, actually, I'm speaking in a couple of weeks for Lighthouse of the Blind right there in Tallahassee as well on Zoom from another opportunity that I've had to speak as well. But it's not through Lighthouse of the Blind. This is a program through Division of Blind Services. If you're familiar with them, they're the big state agency. And their main office is right there in Tallahassee. We're under the Department of Education. So for 30 years, I've been self-employed. So it's called the Business Enterprise Program under the Division of Blind Services. And we're protected by federal law. I'm sorry, there's not a short way to explain it all, but I'll be brief. Randolph-Shepard Vending Act of 1936, if you can imagine, way back then, President Roosevelt actually signed this into law. It protects people who are blind. It provides business opportunities in federal and state properties. So there's 115 of us that are blind in business. I was in business at the Kennedy Space Center for 14 years. I owned the cafeteria there, and that's where I met Gabrielle's dad, as he was an engineer for NASA out there. as a contractor. Her dad was. And then we moved and went to the state capitol building from there. So I like to say, I love humor. And I say to everyone, we went from serving the Space Center to serving the Spacey Senators. I have to say it that way. I always say that. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, so basically, yes, it's an absolutely fantastic program. There are 115 of us in Florida, about 2,000 nationwide who are blind and in business through this program. So now I'm in St. Augustine because if you stop into a rest area on the interstate highways, as people do a lot, they first look for the bathrooms, they run or walk very fast to the restrooms. Obviously, that's where they're stopping. And after they've done that, they look around and see these vending machines, chips, snacks, candies, coffee, sodas. That's what I do. When you put a couple of dollars in that machine or swipe your card, you've done business with a person who is blind. I always tell people that.
Yeah, how many of you did not know that the vending machines along the highways in the state of Florida, how many of you did not know that a blind person is running that business?
Well, I knew that because being in paratransit and
Yeah.
working with the Division of Blind Services, I knew that. I
Okay.
just knew that.
But Lauren, you didn't know it, right? So, all right, Ivy didn't know it. So this is, a reason when you do stop at the restroom, go put a couple coins in. You're gonna be helping someone who's blind.
Yeah, there's actually signs up that have our business name up there and it says Randolph Shepherd Vending Program. So yeah, that's something that people never know. So I always be sure to tell people that. I always get the same response. Nobody ever knows.
I think they've got to do a better job. The program needs to do a better job of letting people know, because I think more people would be inclined to spend money if they knew.
Well,
Yeah.
they say, they always say it's because it's a federal and state program. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but they say they can't really market it like in the free enterprise system. I don't know, because it's state government.
That's hogwash. I think, you know what I think, Randall? Earlier we were talking about people in leadership positions who are not actual leaders. I think that's what it really is.
Yes.
You have somebody making excuses of why something is not being done that should be done. It's
very true.
It's tied to bad decision making from the top.
I've always said it's like the best kept secret. It's like they keep it secret. It really is. It's a shame, but yeah.
Now, Randall, let me ask you a question before I hand it back over to everyone else. When you were in the Leadership Academy, I, of course, really always tell people that I encourage you to join Toastmasters because it's it's a nonprofit. It really helps you get out of your comfort zone. But I want you to share how you took my idea and you ran with it, and what you're doing now in relation to Toastmasters, where you started and where you ended up, where you are now.
Yes. And I had heard about Toastmasters prior to Leadership Academy. I had an interest in it. I really wanted to do it, but I never quite could get in the right place at the right time to do it. But after Gabrielle really talked about it so much and told me I should, I took her advice. So when I moved here to St. Augustine, I found a local club. This was in 2018. And for a full year, I was in that club. And it was just amazing to me. And again, I was the only blind person in the room. And we were going around doing introductions. And every week they would do the same introduction. Oh, hi, I'm John Smith and I'm here, blah. And I'm like, I'm going to spice it up today. So I said, hi, I'm Randall Crosby. And I go in with my white cane. So I'm there with my white cane. You can visualize me sitting there with my white cane and everybody's looking at me in the room. I said, hi, I'm Randall Crosby. I'm just going to go ahead and state the obvious. I have a disability. I kind of hold up my white cane. I'm legally bald. And it got that big laugh like that. And I actually put that into my speeches. But yeah, so I spent a year doing that with that club in St. Augustine. And then we had this thing called the COVID and the pandemic, and it all came down crazy. So we canceled club meetings. But I was introduced to Zoom. I didn't even know what Zoom was, but I asked and I found out. And my friend who was blind, Adam Gaffney, a technology wizard, guru.
Who's also a friend of mine, coincidentally. Yeah.
Yes. And he works right there in the Tallahassee State Office for Division of Blind Services, has been there for years. So he literally held my hand and went to the first couple of meetings with me on Zoom and navigated Zoom for me. He was my Zoom master, as we call it, my Zoom tech person. And so I started visiting different clubs on Zoom, and I realized, wow, I can visit all these clubs now from the comfort of my bedroom or office on Zoom. I don't have to leave the house, and not being able to drive anyway. That's a great thing. I started visiting a ton of clubs. I became a member of 4 clubs. So now I'm a member and officer of 4 clubs. I've been president of several clubs, vice president, all the different levels. I became an area director, which puts me up in a higher level of leadership this past year. And that means I'm responsible for 4 additional clubs outside of my own clubs that I'm in. And it's been so much fun. It's leadership and I'm helping them is the way I look at it. I'm just coming alongside of everyone to help them out. And it's just been so much fun to work with them. And now this new year, which just started July 1st, we're go on the fiscal year in Toastmasters, July 1st through June 30th. So now this year, I'm a division director, which is the next level up. And now I'm the person who, I like to say works with the area directors. So I have the 4 area directors under me, so to speak, that I'm there to help them. And so I'm just climbing up this ladder of leadership. But in addition to that, I go to all these meetings. I have 4 meetings per week on Zoom. And it's amazing because I write my own speeches, deliver them. I do evaluations of other speakers' speeches, which is how we learn really about a speech. When you evaluate someone else's speech, you learn so much. And we do those fun table topics all the time.
That's awesome, Randall. And so when did you become president of the St. Augustine Club? Pretty
quickly. I kind of have a theory that I think they when they get you in, they say, oh, we got a fresh one here. Let's get him before we go. A newbie, sign him up for president. We'll get him in there quick, before he knows what's happening. But it happened very quickly. And I really became a leader of that club. It's just been so amazing for me, the journey, the experience. And Toastmasters does provide a fun and friendly environment for us to learn communication and leadership skills. And that's what we do in Toastmasters.
I'd like to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Lauren, and
Hi.
I've been wanting to join Toastmasters since I was in college, but I've never had the opportunity to just go and do it. But I've been encouraged by you to I really want to be a part of Toastmasters. So
Absolutely, you can just go. You can go to toastmasters.org and click on find a club. And right there in Tallahassee, there's 4 wonderful, amazing clubs right there. Early Birds meets on Saturday mornings. Anyway, I can definitely assist you with that as well if Gabrielle wants to connect us with email for sure.
Yeah, that'd be great. Other questions?
So, Randall, this is Ivy Miles, and you mentioned earlier that you were moving more into motivational public speaking. Today you spoke a lot about networking, but what other, as you go into motivational public speaking, what other topics are near and dear to you?
Yes. I just gave actually it was a 45-minute speech at Chamber of Commerce last month. So I plan to have a standard speech. It's motivational, inspirational, informational and entertaining. I hope all those things, all the elements. It's my personal story of overcoming the obstacles of becoming blind throughout my life, progressively losing my sight. And I just love telling stories about my many race events that I've done, the running, the bicycle rides. So I have a lot of stories. And that's what we learned in Toastmasters is storytelling. I'll be telling my personal stories and weaving that into my business experiences and how people who are blind can be business persons as well as anyone else. So I have a lot of different areas. It will be to also bring awareness, as we talked about, to the Randolph Shepherd vending program, which I am a one-person, advertiser for that. We talked about advertising for the program. And a lot of us who are in business and are blind, there's a group of us that we do advocate for the bringing awareness out there. So I'm just involved in a lot of things like that. I just did my own fundraiser for the first time. I was race director of my own 5K this past January in St. Augustine. And Gabrielle drove over here and ran the 5K with me as my guide. And we actually made the front page. If you look up the St. Augustine Record, the Record, the very small newspaper, they tell me, my friend, actually it was William, called me up the next day. Randall, you and Gabrielle made top of the fold, as they say in the news business. We had the whole top of it is a picture of me and Gabrielle crossing the finish line. And it's a wonderful story about, and this was done as a fundraiser for the Randolph Shepherd vendors, business people who are still suffering from the pandemic, of course, as you all know how that is. So that's a part of my work. And I have a lot of topics to talk about for my speaking.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Randall. Do you mind sharing your experience in the Leadership Academy and how things almost didn't happen and how they changed? And
I'm
what-
happy to.
what happened?
Yes, because it was about this time of year, ironically, I think it really was
Yeah.
May or June. I'd been in Leadership Academy. I was cruising along. You know, the first month is interesting. The second month, third month, around March, it's still pretty new and exciting. It was my experience. I was adrenaline packed for each meeting, loving it, loving everything. And then Patty, my wife Patty and I, we knew we had to move from Tallahassee to St. Augustine. So Gabrielle made an exception to keep me in Leadership Academy through, virtual, remote. So we agreed to do that. And Gabrielle, you can help me or correct me if I'm right. It's been a while now, but I hadn't thought about it, but I basically had a meltdown. I called Gabrielle and told her, I'm done. I'm quitting. I'm leaving. I can't do this. It's not working out for me because I've moved away. I'm not feeling it because I'm not there with you guys. I think that was part of my reasoning and there was something else.
I had given you some action items and you weren't following through with your action items. And I'm your accountability partner and you don't want me to hold you accountable, basically.
Yes. Thank you for summarizing it better than I was.
It wasn't
Yes.
about the moving part at all. And
You're absolutely right. And yes. And I found it too hard to do. Yeah. So I was quitting,
he
basically.
had a bunch of excuses why he wasn't doing the action items. And
You're
then
right.
ultimately what happened, Randall?
Well, that's when I do remember this because I do tell, even today, I've used this example in just the last couple of weeks for friends of mine who I'm talking through things and helping them to be the leader and step up and do what they have to do. Gabrielle told me, and I'm sure you may have all heard her say it once or twice by now, if you know her at all. She told me, Randall, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Have you heard her say that, any of you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Creative ways of saying
I
it.
knew the answer. When I asked the question, I knew it was going to be a yes. And that's fantastic. I have used that example for myself and others. I really have. In real situations. I kid you not, just two people here in Toastmasters, because we just we have these leadership challenges and people were dealing with difficult people all the time and stuff like that. And I have used that as a reminder, like, I am going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And Gabrielle told me, and I didn't take it well. And a couple of days went by, I had to think about it and process it from what I remember. And
Yeah.
I wasn't liking it. And I decided, I'd made up my mind, no, Gabrielle, guess what? I'm not accepting it's what I said to myself, nope, forget it. I'm done. I am done. But somehow I did come to that conclusion of, all right, I get it. I've got to own up to this and do it. You go ahead, Gabrielle.
Yeah, no. And then actually what happened was he was more engaged than ever. He was just kind of going through the motions before, but then when he came back from this kind of epiphany, this kind of, quite frankly, like a come to Jesus kind of meeting that we had,
Yes,
he came back and he was more engaged than ever. And then he started giving 110% to everything. He started doing his action items. He started like really connecting with people. It didn't matter,
And Gabrielle, it was amazing because now that we're talking about this, honestly, I just hadn't thought about it for a while, but you're bringing it back to me. And honestly, I was amazed at myself and at that group, we had 10 people in the room. Each group is just different. I mean, I'd love to be in a group of 3 or 4. That's awesome too. You have that much smaller group like that. You guys are really knowing each other very well. But we
Yeah.
had a group of 10 people. And I kid you not, that January meeting introductions, the first day, as we went around, I'm like saying to myself, all I could say was, I'm in the wrong place. I shouldn't be here. I'm not worthy because these people are amazing. Their resumes are this, that, and the other, all these people in the room. I don't belong here. That's how I felt. As Gabrielle said, as I evolved and I started interacting and becoming involved, I walked away from meetings saying to myself, my gosh, did I just say all that? Did I contribute that much? And I actually won the Excellent Communication Award at the end of the year, exemplary communicator.
Yeah.
And because I learned so much from Leadership Academy, I really did. It was amazing. It was an evolution for me, a growth process like no other. And I kept my notes and everything we did, the work, the lessons, the projects, and I still refer back to those from time to time now and look at them and remind myself about those things that we worked on. But that was a growth process. And Toastmasters has kept me moving forward on that. If I can tell one quick story, Gabrielle,
Of course.
about the Toastmasters. This happened to me just about 6 months ago. As area director, as I told you, part of being an area director responsible, you're required to make 2 visits, one in the beginning, well, actually 2 visits at the very beginning of your term, and then another visit at the end. It can be kind of, we go 6 months at a time, yet it's 1 year. So don't let me confuse you, but so they wanted 2 visits at the first of the 6 months and then another visit at the end. And as many, if you go other times, feel free to go, please. It's sky's the limit. You know, you create your own leadership, whatever you want to do. But I was going to, one of the clubs was actually, that's in my area. It's NBC Toastmasters. And it really is the NBC network. It's the official NBC, the real deal. They meet on virtual and they're mostly in New York, California, because it's NBC. And these are the executives of NBC in this club. And here I come in as their area director, talk about a humbling experience. It was amazing. And what blew my mind was they did the table topic session. I participated. It was funny because they looked at, I could tell they were like, they're not wanting to call on me because I'm the area director, you know, and I have this big title and I'm like this and that. But I just said to them, I unmuted and said, hey folks, I'd love to participate. Throw a question my way, would you? If you want. And so they did, and I answered it. And after the meeting, the president called me and I had this surreal conversation with her about the club, area director stuff. You know, she had some questions and I answered, checked those boxes as far as the visit and all that stuff, the official stuff. But she said, Randall, we were blown away by your table topics speech right there. And she said, I had the opportunity to hear you speak before, so I know you're a polished speaker, but that was amazing. And I said, well, that's a real compliment coming from you at NBC to hear that from you folks. And she says, well, yeah, Randall, we're professional business people. I mean, we work for NBC. Yeah, you know, we're executives, this, that, but you're the professional speaker in the room. You're the one we're watching and learning from. That was a surreal moment for me, honestly.
That's awesome.
Did I share that in the right way? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Did I get that across?
Yeah.
And that's the growth experience that we continue gaining, you know. But Leadership Academy is the catalyst for me of starting out. And yeah, Gabrielle, I shared a couple of testimonials with you, I know, about my experience in Leadership Academy. And we had them on Facebook a couple of times and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they probably have not read them, but maybe I'll forward to our group so they can see them. But
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
I did share I shared a short clip of you receiving the Exemplary Communicator of the Year award.
Oh, thank you. Great.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
thank you for being here and taking time out of your day and talking with us.
Well, thanks to all of you. You've been a great audience and glad to share in the experience. So good luck with everything, you guys.
We wish you much success, Randall, in everything you do. You're missed
Thank
here
you.
in Tallahassee.
Thank you, Gabrielle.
All right, take
One of these
care.
days I'll get over there and we'll run a 5K race together.
Hey, it sounds great. All right.
Give me a few
Bye.
minutes because I got to find the way out of here.
Okay, take care, Randall.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.